Oh, that's nice. The things I do to cover a story. Covered in grass or whatever that is, and look at this. That is a fall, boy. If I drop something, it is gone. Here comes the boat. You know, where are the other journalists at? Getting footage like this on a friggin' train trestle. And I definitely must say, I'd like to know where the rest of the media is out here on this bridge that is every bit of 70 feet high, give or take. And if I were to fall, let's just say I don't think I'd be in good shape. Not to mention if I were to drop something, I'm definitely not going to be getting it back. So this is what I do to get these stories. Yeah, they're lowering somebody now.
So this is from my buddy Antonello here. This is my last song.
Hey, Colonel. So how you doing? Come on.
You a sucker punch me again?
No, come on.
And I was interested in Anthony Antonello, and he might ask Joe Biden a tough question, and you kind of cut me. And I just want to say that hopefully Antonello will be able to.
You know what, man? Anthony Antonello. Most people don't have any idea who he is. Who said he was calling from Ohio, and a buddy of his, Anthony, contacted him, and I know who Anthony is. And these guys have a network, and they're relatively smart guys.
He is also the host of AnthonyAntonello.com. You can find his YouTube channel by the same name. Anthony, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, there's a gentleman in town, Anthony Antonello. You know what? Here's what I want to do. I'm not real interested in Anthony Antonello. You're not? Why not?
I was just calling about Anthony, a guy whose work I've been following for quite a while. He calls quite a bit with really vital information, and I've heard something about him getting banned from 2 shows on this network, and I just think that's really sad that we've got someone that's out there fighting for liberty and freedom, that's providing factual information about what's happening in our country, and he can't even call radio stations now.
And I have no problem with him calling here, so
Yeah, there's so much at stake, and he talks about so many issues, and that's cool that I'm on your show and stuff. A talk show host reserves that right, but I think it's the issues he's talking about on those other shows that have them a little freaked out, and they don't want more people to find out and dig into what he's talking about, like the NDAA and the stuff that he the great information that he puts out there and the great work he's doing. It's just sad. It's just kind of disgusting.
Well, again, I don't know whether or not what he says is accurate, and if it is, I would suggest that you take that issue up with the 2 hosts involved. He hasn't been banned from this show unless I'm told otherwise, so.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly do that because there's no reason to doubt what Anthony said.
For those that listen to our show knows Anthony Antonello comes on here quite a bit, and he's always out there, and he almost got arrested asking Barletta. Remember that? Remember he's sitting on here and he's talking about asking Barletta about the NDAA.
Yes.
Right? And, they're grabbing him. Yeah, you can't, and we never know with Anthony whether he's going to be in the clink or he's going to get us a great video. But
or both.
Or both.
How about the National Defense?
NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act.
Okay.
And when Mitt Romney came here April 5th, you had a good dude, he's a journalist, I think his name is Anthony Antonelli. He had asked him.
And I'd like to say it's great hearing Anthony Antonello's voice on here, too.
Anthony is a piece of work, and there's nobody like him. He is unique.
Well,
I appreciate that about him as well as the rest of it.
absolutely. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
And, and he's doing it for us, you know what I mean? And I share a lot of his views.
Patriot, liberty-minded delegates going to the RNC. And you may know Mr. Anthony Antonello is a delegate to the RNC. And we're trying to raise money there to get them off. He's actually on his way to New Hampshire right now. Anthony Antonello. I know you know Anthony from calling in the show and whatnot, but I'm sure one of them would give you reports or whatnot. You know, I'm sure you can get in touch with Anthony or something.
Well, I actually have some people that are going to do some reports next week.
The whole purpose of our freedom is to be able to express our freedom. And while he was talking about Anthony. Anthony is a very passionate individual. You know, he cares about this country, as do I, and as do you.
All right, let's go to Tony in Pittston. Hi, Tony. You're on WILK.
How you doing, Kathy?
Good. I can't believe you're calling this show.
Yes. I have a specific question.
The guy's relentless, tireless. He is on point. He makes sense.
Another thing, that Tony who calls you all the time, boy, it sounds like a guy who wants to you talk transparency. It sounds like a guy who wants to get government out there and see what's really going on. I don't know him from Adam, but it sounds like
I've gotten to know Tony pretty well over the last couple of years, and he and I have our areas of disagreement, but he's got guts, and he's not afraid of anybody, and he has done a lot to try to make government agencies and government candidates be as transparent as possible. And he's taken some some bows and arrows for it.
I guess that's what happens when you starting up. When sounds like a new guy out there.
Yep. He's got a website, and he confronts people and shoots them on video, and then puts the videos up. And I try to watch them whenever I can. Some of them are downright funny. The one with Nancy Pelosi, the Scranton Hotel, that one was hilarious. You have to see it. It's AnthonyAntonello.com. And check it out and look and take a look at some of the stuff he puts up. He's quite a character.
So let's just dial it back a little bit. And here's a voice of reason.
Yeah, right.
No, you know what? You know what I love about you, Anthony? You know what I love is you are entirely committed to what you believe in.
I am.
Even though I may not agree with you all the time, I love that anybody is that passionate about it.
Well, here's the thing is I understand history, so I know what is possible. I study trends and patterns, so I know what is probable.
And I want to say this to Tony, who calls now with some frequency. I know who Tony is. And Tony, I believe, has his heart in the right place. And for that reason, I endorse Tony taking his camera out onto the street and using his camera to document the political world in which we live.
There's straight proof that they're lying right to your face. You could show it to somebody in under 2 minutes and say, look, if they're capable of doing that, what else are they capable of, you know? I mean, I never in a million years thought that in my life I would have to be a journalist. There would have been nobody there, you know, nobody would have had any clue what really happened there. You know, it's like we have to do this because who else is going to do it?
Anthony, what do you think about all this?
This is absolutely incredible. We've been talking about this for years. We said all it's going to take, you know, is one major event, you know, whether it be a mall, a library, movie theater, anywhere. You know, we already see the TSA rolling into Union Station in Chicago. We see these people, it's a complete takeover. It is so obvious, and, you know, I've been doing as much work as I can. Here's the thing is, and you know this, you control the message, you control the people.
What do you make of them running a drill of the exact same thing happening? Now, in the case of 7-7, it was even the same buses and same location, same time. This was just running a drill that day of the movie theater being attacked in the area, and the guy using a bomb as a diversion while he shot people. Again, every time they're running drills. On 9/11, they were running drills of the same thing. How obvious does this have to get?
I called Nancy Lapham. She's the one who wrote that article in the Denver Post. I called her a couple hours ago. I asked her if it was okay for me to record the conversation, and she told me that her inbox is flooded with emails of people talking about conspiracies and that, it happened afterwards, and this was planned months ahead. She said something about they got their idea from Israel. But she's like, yeah.
Hey, listen to this.
Anthony, I think about, the $2 an hour I talked about in Mexico. What do you think it is in Vietnam? It's about 30 cents an hour. And Anthony, if we just start having all of our manufactured goods made in Vietnam, where they have no rights, what does that say about how much we care about what our ancestors went through to establish those rights in this country? Now you got me on that.
So it takes different people to take care of different areas. For example, I know you've had Stuart Rhodes from Oath Keepers on this program, oathkeepers.org. And several other people as well, including Anthony Antonello. AnthonyAntonello.com confronts politicians on NDAA to show their ignorance.
All right, we're going to have to take one of our proverbial breaks, but we'll come back. This is just entirely too much fun because it's Coast to Coast AM.
Steve, I agree with Tony Antonello said before about the two-party system. Talk about freedom in this country and liberty in this country.
I bet Jesus would. I bet Jesus would say at some point, you know what? Listen to this, Corbett. It makes a lot more sense than a lot of these so-called Christians. Let Corbett in when he comes knocking at the door.
But I have more respect for guys like Tony Antonello, Lou Jazikoff, the chairman of the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, 103.1 FM. Tony Antonello is on line 2. He was sort of part of Occupy something. I'm not sure he's anymore. Tony Antonello, Northeastern Pennsylvania, young guy, sort of an agitator, but he's going to have to hold because I got another break coming up, and then we'll talk to Antonello, see what he's up to lately. Finally, we can get Tony Antonello in. What's on your mind, son? How's everything?
I'm doing all right, Steve. Thanks for taking my call. And, as far as the Occupy movement, I support anybody who fights these evil establishment elites that give the United States government their orders. So, I do support that. You just have to watch when these groups get, large, powerful, and start getting a lot of coverage, and a lot of times they get co-opted. Is the Republicans picked the guy who lost to Obama. He was pretty much everybody's last choice, all right? Now, what I don't understand is we've proven now beyond a reasonable doubt that the Republican Party is crooked. They cheat. They do what they want. The Democrats did the same thing to their delegates at the DNC. They're crooked. They cheat. They do whatever they want. So how are we playing along in this game as if it's still Republicans versus Democrats when it's pretty much fact now that our government has been hijacked by corporate interests, and we're acting as if our votes count, or if we even have a say in the matter, anybody but Obama. Are you kidding me? Really? Listen,
one, and I'm telling them, stick your law. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. So that's the kind of guy I am.
Right, and I know, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Now, I'm taking it to, the next level, and I'm saying election fraud. Now, why, here's the whole point, Steve. Now, why are we going to play this game, Barack and Romney, if we know that the system has been compromised? And here's the thing, there's no way around it. There is, it's documented evidence, proof, fact beyond any reasonable doubt that it does not matter who you vote for at the presidential level. They are pre-selected people that are given to us. So, again, I get what you're saying about between Obama and Romney, but shouldn't we be fighting it on another level, trying to make people aware of the fact that our country has been hijacked, that it doesn't matter.
I do it every day. I do it here every day. And we have been hijacked, and that's a tough word, but that's exactly what has happened.
Those that make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable.
I don't know who said that.
JFK said that.
Listen, I got to take a break. We'll talk to you again. Anthony Antonello. Sometimes I agree with this young guy. Sometimes I agree. I think his heart's in the right place.
Journalist, I'm getting it out statewide, national level. There was a bill that was passed on March 8th. Okay, it was drafted from an older model, but it was signed into law on March 8th by President Obama. It's called H.R. 347. It's the Federal Restricted Buildings and Grounds Improvement Act of 2011. This country doesn't even realize what freedom is anymore. Individual liberty. Tell me something that you can do, that you don't have to pay for or get a permit or ask permission for. You are free to do as you're told, all right?
So I want to get off the phone, but I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you think.
Do you want to tell the people where they could, about your Facebook or not? Where they could...
Not really. It's just for my friend. I don't want to get thrown in Guantanamo.
Well, you already started the proceedings in motion by writing those letters, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll be okay, and maybe they do have their reasons, but for a lot of Americans, I could see where they find this to be very scary.
I am happy for the fact that I'm hearing others call about it, because it seems like for the last 4.5 years, I was one of very few people that have been, ringing the alarm, trying to tell people what's going on. Now, the Patriot Act, was emergency powers. Now, the NDAA is what they did was they made it law, Now, I think the second gentleman who called, I believe his name was Sam, I think he proved the point, and the point that I've been trying to make, is how scared Americans are of their government, that we have gone from give me liberty or give me death to I'm scared of going to Guantanamo. I will tell you right now, my name is Anthony Antonello, and if that gentleman hears this, he is welcome to find me on Facebook, give me that information, and I will post it and put it out to anybody and everybody I can, because I refuse to allow myself to be put in a position where I'm scared, because I hear it too often. I hear people at, all over the place, friends of the family, I'm afraid to even look that stuff up. They'll track my IP address and they'll come get me. Well, it's happening. And if people don't stand up, and they've stated their mission, they said, returning veterans, Ron Paul supporters, oath keepers, people that are constitutionalists, they've stated what they're doing, and they're carrying out their mission. This is what they're doing. They told us a long time ago. I've been telling you for years now, and now it's coming to fruition. Now you're hearing people finding out and saying, oh my God, what are they doing? So that's why I'm saying we need to be vigilant. We need to stay on them, and we can't allow this. We cannot allow ourselves to be afraid, and I made the decision when I first got into this that, I'm not going to allow them to intimidate me.
It's always interesting to hear Tony call. I think he does a really good job.
You know what's the thing about Tony? I mean, he's obviously very passionate about what he does, but the thing that I like about him is that he thinks outside the box. He's not in the box. It's critical thinking. It's examining the message for what it contains, and we don't do that now. We don't do that enough.
No, and we don't do that enough in today's society. We're basically mind controlled by the media and by other sources, and you have to be able to critically think, and that's why Tony's such a great journalist. And he did a great job. I don't want to get off track here, but he did a great job in the local scene with the Hawkeye camera system about 3 years ago. That won me over. I just wish he would concentrate more on local stuff. I think he could have a great impact that way. But he's on national and world issues too. So, but again, he's the guy that you want to listen to.
Let's try to make a better world here, make a better system, and try to talk and work things out. And that's what I'm all about.
Okay, that's great, Anthony. Thanks for calling in. I like your suggestion.
Have a great night.
Thanks a lot. We need more people like Anthony, if only because he may be starry-eyed, but he has passion about his beliefs, and he tries very hard to think critically about what, not take for granted what things mean, and definitely, here's what happened. And I think it's good to be able to just look around and examine the message, as well as accept the message. Examine the message. Look for meaning in the message. Critically listen to what you're being told.
I've gotten so far in the mainstream now. I've been listening to like a lot of independent journalists, and I just want to give a shout out. The guy who calls your show all the time, Anthony Antonello.
Oh yeah,
he hits it home every single time.
He was the one that put it in my head about suicide by cop, because he said it last night before anybody, and now I see today, like at 4:00 in the afternoon, all of a sudden, eyewitnesses were saying that the guy was suicidal. And I thought, my God, Anthony called it like 18 hours ago.
I think he broke the story like 2 or 3 hours before WBRE even mentioned it on their website. Like it was like 10 minutes after it happened. The guy is he's always 4 bases ahead of the rest. I mean, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you got to go definitely check him out, or any independent journalist. But AnthonyAntonello.com is where I get my stuff, and I love it.
There was an independent journalist. He listens to the show. He calls it all the time, Anthony Antonello. He did a story back in 2012 after the Latier hit-and-run accident on Wilkes-Barre.
I remember the story he did.
And that was quite a hard case to solve.
No matter what, stand up for people, even if you don't know them. If you see they've been robbed, okay, stand up for them. At some point, you might be begging for somebody to stand up for you. So understand what's going on, and you need to stand up for these people now while we have a chance.
Not disarm anyone in my borough or anyone in the country as far as I'm concerned. You know, you look at what happened down in Katrina, down in Louisiana, where they deputized all these police officers.
Christ, I mean, no pun intended, it completely intruded. I will make sure that this entire meeting will be online for the entire football to see.
Decide who they're closer to. Is it Barack Obama or Mitt Romney? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think a lot of the things that President Obama has done in creating executive
Oh my God! Wow! That is firepower right there.
I'm looking for the real truth. I'm looking for the real truth. And I have come to discover that when it is that you think that you have a good understanding of something, you need to go back and do your homework, because you probably don't have it yet. And every time I found that I thought I had it all nailed down, Anthony was right. When you think you know it all, you haven't got any of it. Somewhere along the line, we're going to discover we've been had. Because the more you begin to investigate what we think we understand, where we came from, what we think we're doing, the more you begin to see we've been lied to. And unless and until you are prepared to look at the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Oh, they cut the feed. They literally cut the feed.
And wherever it may go, whoever it may lead to, if you want to look the other way, or if you want to play favorites, then somewhere along the line you're going to find out you're messing with divine justice. The more you educate yourself, the more you understand where things come from, the more obvious things become, and you begin to see lies everywhere. You have to know the truth and seek the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Any man or woman who does not have principles for which they're ready and willing to die for at any given moment that they're called upon to do that is already dead and are of no use or consequence to themselves or anyone else, and will be unhappy throughout their life.
You are listening to Silence is Compliance. Here is your host, Anthony Antonello.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Because our masters don't give a damn about you or your family. All they care about is what they have always cared about, and that's controlling the whole damn world.
Were you trying to provoke anybody to do anything particular? Were you trying to provoke or trying to get people to do things?
Yes.
Tell us what.
Think. Use your head.